it doesn't feel very well, but you also have a lot going on, or maybe your sleep is not that great now, what you are experiencing is actually a feeling of overwhelm. I just thought that I have a lot going on, or it's a busy season, or I need to get more organized. I need to be more disciplined. I never really labeled it as overwhelmed. And the minute I did, it felt both like a relief, like there is a name for what I'm experiencing, and almost a little bit like a judgment, like I shouldn't feel overwhelmed, like I'm better than that. Hello, and welcome back to the 8-Figure Dentist podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jana Konovalenko. And today we're going to talk about that pressure of the world that you might be feeling on your shoulders, also known as overwhelm. But first, let's talk about what's behind me. And if you are watching this on YouTube, you know that my background used to look very differently. And if you're listening to this on the iTunes, we're still working on the Spotify. Please be patient, Android users. I encourage you to go and watch this video on YouTube. So if you've been a long-time listener of the show, you know that my background used to look very differently. And it is because I have officially moved into my new office. We bought a new house about 6 months ago, 2 months before we had our third baby, and we've been a little busy, a little overwhelmed, so to speak. So we've been renovating this room. It needed a lot of work to be done. We had to install the doors and paint them and do the privacy screen and put the curtains and all the furniture and all the things. But this room is finally completed. So I am so delighted to be recording my first podcast episode out of this room. So this is going to be the background for a while. So welcome to my new office. Well, let's jump into the topic of this week. And I've decided that I'm going to create a series on the overwhelm because it is a topic that I coach doctors very, very frequently on, regardless of whether you're an associate, but especially if you're a practice owner and especially if you're a mom. I know this feeling of juggling so many balls and them dropping and you worried and having racing thoughts about all the things you have to get done is you're not. I want to give you some tips. I want to give you some strategies, and I want to contribute to a better experience of your life, motherhood, and practice ownership. So you might have had a bad month, or maybe you bought a new practice, or maybe like me, you had a new baby, or you're renovating a house. Maybe there's been some other life change that you've had, and it might have been going on for some time. And so you are starting to feel, like the kind of you're living with this pressure of things not being done by the end of the day or even by the end of the week. And you are carrying your mental or maybe even written to-do list to the next day and the next week. And things don't just get fully crossed off that list. And so you may be even waking up in the middle of the night with a million of things. God forbid you wake up to pee. What I'm talking about is, hello, we forgot this, and order contacts, and kids are running low on vitamins, and I haven't packed my daughter's clothes. And so because there's a million of things going on in your personal and professional life, you might start finding yourself, in addition to that, kind of like a hum, like underlying hum of pressure day to day as you're going through life, you might start finding yourself being just a little bit more irritable than usual, maybe just a tad snappier with your loved ones, or maybe a little bit shorter with your staff. It's not too bad, but you kind of notice it, or maybe they started telling you this and it doesn't feel very well, but you also have a lot going on. Maybe you start skipping your workouts here and there, or maybe your sleep is not that great now. What you are experiencing is actually a feeling of overwhelm. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you're anything like me, I, of course, knew the emotion overwhelm, but I never thought that I was experiencing overwhelm. I just thought that I have a lot going on, or it's a busy season, or I need to get more organized. I need to be more disciplined. I never really labeled it as overwhelmed. And the minute I did, it felt both like a relief, like there is a name for what I'm experiencing, and almost a little bit like a judgment, like I shouldn't feel overwhelmed, like I'm. But if you're experiencing what I've just described to you, it's likely that you are being overwhelmed. And that is okay. Overwhelm actually means that there's something you can do with your current situation. I'm going to say it again. Overwhelm, anxiety, the way I like to look at anxiety and the way I like to look at overwhelm is that means that I actually can do something to solve my problems. So that's good news. So in today's episode, I am going to give you 2 tips on what to do if you're currently in the season and if you're currently experiencing what I just described. And I'm going to make a couple of episodes, a series on overwhelm, so I can help you thrive and not just survive whatever you're going through. So if you're right now in the middle of the fire, if you're in the middle of the storm, and you push play on this episode because it resonated, but you need a quick fix because shit is about to hit the fan, here's what I want you to do. There is likely a very specific problem you have in mind. And what I want you to do is I want you to separate the math from the drama. It is a concept that I teach my clients very frequently on this topic, which means every problem has a solution, a logical, unexciting, unemotional, mathematical solution. Every problem has a solution. If a problem doesn't have a solution, it's not a problem by definition, because every problem has a solution. If there's no solution, it's not a problem. It's a fact of life. So there's no need to worry about it. But if there is a solution to the problem that you're in, then what I want you to do is I want you to either sit down and think about it or write it down, but factually describe exactly what the problem is. You may think that you know, but your brain will add a lot of thoughts on it, a lot of opinions and judgments, which you're not realizing is what it is. You will just think that you are observing the facts. You're describing the situation. If you're a human being with a human brain, it means that you're adding a layer of judgment and a layer of drama on top of it. I don't care how logical and how systematic, pragmatic do you think you are. Every human being is very emotional. That's actually what makes us human. But in order to solve the problem the fastest, you want to remove all of the drama. You need dry facts of the situation. And that's exactly what I want you to do if you are right now in the middle of the fire, in the middle of something big. And you're like, oh, I can't even focus on my to-do list. I can't even focus on all other things. Like, I have a lawsuit on my hands. My employee is about to quit. Like, I'm about to get divorce papers filed, like diagnosis. There's something very acute happening. What I want you to do is I want you to describe very factually what the problem is. Let's say we were in court and judge asks you, okay, exactly what the problem is. She or he would have you strip all the emotions from it and just present the facts. I want you to state your problem very factually. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're running through a busy clinic and your assistant keeps interrupting you and complaining to you about a front desk. She keeps coming to you like, ugh, Megan again didn't seat all the patients. Do you see how many people are in the waiting room? Oh my God, doc, did you see that? She didn't collect the payment. We shouldn't even see that patient. The patient shouldn't have even been seated because they are so delinquent, and she didn't let the financial coordinator know. So she's constantly dripping problems slash sometimes venting on you, just complaining with no real solution in the moment. And you feel irritated because you're just trying to get through a busy morning. And she feels irritated because you're not doing anything. So she feels unheard. She feels like you don't care. And you start getting worried that your relationship might suffer and she may actually quit. And now, on top of the problem, you are now going to be short-staffed. So I want you to clearly, factually define the problem, exactly what the problem is. The assistant is unhappy with the front desk. Okay, that's the problem. What is the solution? Factually, we can't change people. We can't control people. We can't just make assistant drop her opinions about the front desk. What factually is the problem? What are exactly things that the lead assistant doesn't like about the front desk? Now, are these legitimate problems or concerns in your opinion? Could they be solved? Can we have a meeting between the front, the lead, and you and come up with a protocol for how things are done so that everybody's on the same page? Can we at least in the moment say, hey, let's schedule a meeting on Friday and you, front desk, and me will sit down and we're going to solve this situation? Describe factually exactly what's happening. Your brain will offer you drama. Your brain will tell you, my assistant likes to complain. I'm so tired of them acting like children. What the front did is not that big of a deal. Why are they interrupting me in the moment? I don't even know there's a solution. Why are there always a lot of judgments around the situation, which will contribute to your overwhelm? It will contribute to that never-ending list of problems and feeling that pressure of the world and quite frankly, feeling a little bit out of control, like you can't solve the problem. Remember, if you have a problem, it always has a solution. If there's no solution, it's not a problem by definition. It's a fact of life. Let's define this problem. Let's do the next logical step. And that's how your brain, when you do that, when you set that meeting, when you have that conversation, and sometimes you really think about the problem and factually there's actually not a problem. It's just your brain is catastrophizing and is trying to predict the future when there's nothing really you can do right now. You just have to let the events play out. That is very relieving to experience when you realize that. So if you're in the middle of a big issue right now, I want you to factually describe it. Then the solution, what to do, how to move the needle right now will become very evident, very apparent. I do this with my client very often when they come in, and because they're in their own life, in their own brain, same thing for me, by the way, right? I'm a human being as well. When I'm inside of my own problem, it's like not really hard, but it is definitely harder for me to objectively see it, right? Because I have so much bias around it. And so when my clients bring that to me on the call, it's easier for me as a coach who's not in it to tell them, okay, so here's the actual problem. Come up with a solution very quickly, very efficiently. So for you, either tell it to somebody who you know will give you an objective solution, or write it down on a piece of paper, or talk to me, reach out to me, and I want you to separate all the drama from the actual facts. That's what I want you to do if you are in the middle of a storm right now. Once you do that, or if you don't have one big pressing thing, it's just a 1,000 paper cuts happening, then what I want you to do is I want you to block off 20 minutes on your calendar, and I want you to take a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to do what I call a to-do download. I want you to write down every single thing that you can think of that needs to get done or is a problem on a piece of paper. Every little thing. And I highly recommend that you actually do it on a piece of paper rather than electronically. There's a lot of studies done behind the therapeutic effects of actually pen and paper. So I want you to offload your brain. And if you're not doing this right now, if you're kind of half-ass doing it, you have some sticky notes here, you have something that you've texted yourself, you have something in your notes app on your phone, you have something in your reminders, put all of this in one place. There's so much power in being organized. Organize everything on one piece of paper. Just dump it all out. Just do that. That's all I want to teach you in this episode. Just dump all of this. And it could be multiple pieces. Like when I'm going through busy periods of my life, I sometimes have like 2 or 3 large pieces of paper full of, in small print, full of things that need to get done or need to get resolved. That's okay. Watch what's going to happen. You're going to feel so much better that everything is neatly out of your head and in one place on a piece of paper. And in the next episode, I'm going to tell you what to do with this piece of paper. But for now, I want you to do this exercise. I am so excited for you to learn these tools of how you can offload your brain and learn to live with a lot more lightness. Do you remember when we were younger? When we were trying to get into dental school or we were in dental school, things were just a lot lighter. I feel like especially before dental school, we were just so full of hope and dreams and aspirations, and we had fewer responsibility on us. And so things just felt lighter. And we actually had fewer things under our control. Now we have more things under our control and more responsibilities. So we feel more of this pressure because there's something we can do about it. There's 24 hours in the day. So we have to get really efficient with our time and the way we prioritize what we spend our attention on. And that's just not something that comes naturally to the human brain. But back to those days when things just felt so light and exciting and hopeful, I want you to have these moments in your day. And the 2 exercises that I taught you today, the 2 tips, will help you move towards that. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to it. If you have a colleague or a friend who you think might benefit from this podcast or this episode, I would love and absolutely appreciate if you send it to them so we can spread the word. And if you can spare a couple of minutes and leave me a review so that more people can find this podcast, I would be eternally grateful to you. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week. Bye.